I've been looking forward to this episode because
Yeah, me
this is
too.
gonna be a very serious discussion and very timely, with everything going on. Please do the honor of introducing our guest.
Welcome to Raw and Real, the podcast where truth wears no filter. Hosted by identical twins Danah and Stacy. The same fearless energy that defined plump.ph is back, now with deeper accountability. At the peak of the body positivity wave, they hit a hard truth. Being fat isn't brave, being fat isn't healthy, and body positive isn't the whole story. Preaching self-acceptance while eating in denial, saying I'm fine except me, wasn't honest, and it wasn't helping. At the height of wokeism, between 2016 to 2020, as the faces of the body positivity movement, they completed over 100 podcast episodes on Spotify. Now they're back, but this time on PGMN. Not just with their brand, but with clarity. Born from a lifetime of twinhood, Raw and Real invites you into the unfiltered world of two women who've lived, fought, and flourished together through body shaming, cultural expectations, healing, and radical honesty. Expect real talk about what we usually hide: shame and joy, jealousy and softness, strength and sex, the systems we live in, and the stories our bodies carry. Each episode strips away performance, leaving something deeper: connection. No scripts, no pretenses, just two women speaking their truth, sometimes with serious gravity, often with blazing hilarity, and holding space for yours. This is Raw and Real. Tune in, unpack, unlearn, come as you are.
So, this person, backstory lang ako.
Go.
I attended the Bible study. I was invited, I was invited randomly, I forget. Benjo Marquez, a DJ friend who also testified in church, and then,
I love him.
diba? Tapos nag-mix siya ng mga gospel house sa Yakal.
Lods ko yan. Super.
He taught Bible studies in Makati, and then we attended. Well, I attended first.
Yeah, you did first.
And then, I met our guest's wife. So, nag-amigahan kami ng todo-todo nitong babaeng to. Nag-click lang talaga kami. Yeah, si Chippy. Hi, Chippy. So, it was such a light-hearted conversation and we felt at ease with one another right away.
Yeah.
And then, akala ko sobrang good vibes na kami ni Chippy until I met her husband. And
Yeah.
this man is seriously one of the most authentic people I've known. He's very grounded in his faith, and I like how he gives sound counsel every time. And I value that friendship, and you've also been connected with him, and it's just good
Chemistry.
juju all around. So he's also an entrepreneur, a very prominent entrepreneur in the F&B scene and also in the education scene before. I also got to work for him for a time, which was such a really humbling and learning experience for me when I was trying to pursue teaching. So now, he is also a doctor in psychology and someone who will add so much value to this conversation. Lex Ledesma.
Hello, thanks for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Hi, Lex.
Welcome.
hello.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, so can you just give us a brief background on how you pursued psychology and how that happened for you?
Right. Well, shout out to Benjo because he was the one who first introduced me to the word and getting involved with that.
Okay.
And I think that was a period when I was searching, like many people go through. That was a season where I was trying to figure myself out, figure out what my purpose in this world was, why I am here, what I want to do, what gives me life meaning.
Pero adult ka na nito, di ba?
Yeah. Actually, I went through several searching periods, but I think this was the darkest time. I was still very productive. So it wasn't like I wasn't doing anything, but there was a yearning in my soul that was very deep because I couldn't figure out like, why am I here? I mean, it like a really existential question. And so Benjo introduced me to the word and I fell in love with God through the Bible in a way that I had never experienced prior because I had very preconceived notions about right or wrong, God, and it was just like very formulaic. And I realized that by reading the Bible, I can have a real connection and means to communicate with the God that created me. And so that was a wonderful self-discovery. Aligned with that time, I decided that I would also study psychology, thinking that maybe some answers could be found in education. I'm a nerd. I like to study. So I had been out of school for 11 years. I was thinking, maybe if I study again, And actually, there was a third component. Interestingly, I was a volunteer in New Bilibid Prison. I would go at least once a week. I went over 500 times. So I was in the maximum section of New Bilibid Prison working with inmates. So I had my Bible instruction, I had my PhD instruction, and then I had my inmate mentors.
Wow.
So this was a triumvirate in my life where I really helped to figure myself out and figure out like what I wanted to do with the rest of my life, which I hopefully will be long still, but whether it's short or long, not so important to me. What's more important is that I'm doing something that is meaningful to me and is aligned with what I believe to be God's purpose. And I think that God's purpose is the same for every single human being, which is to do His will. But that will is different for every
Right,
person.
every
But
person,
it's really not like my will, but it's thy will. So it's really just that. So while the path is different, the intention or the goal of every believer, and to my mind, is basically not to do your will, but to do His will, to submit to Him and your higher power and His will for your life. And that's what I found, that if you're basically following yourself, it's a path towards certain destruction and emptiness. But if you listen, be obedient, be disciplined in your faith walk, then you will be guided to the right people, the right friends, the right environment, and so on.
So my question is, what triggered existential questions? What was happening in your life that made you seek and Benjo leading you to a spiritual path like that?
The short answer is, I was experiencing a lot of things which could not be explained by science. And when it started happening to many people around me that were not related to me, had never taken drugs, had never done anything like that. So then I realized that this is spiritual and not psychological. I mean, an interesting story is I went to a psychologist who was a family friend who we have known for many years. And about 10 minutes into the conversation, she kicked me out because she lost her ability to hear, physically hear. And so she was scared. And so she kicked me out and said, I can't help you, but you have to leave right now. So I started to realize that there were things going on which were not explainable by science. And then it started happening to many other people around me, and that's verifiable. And so then I started to think, okay, maybe there's something here. So that's why I went for the psychology to study it, and I also studied the Bible, and I was also going to prison. So this really helped me to figure things out. That episode or that period was the greatest gift in my life, because if I was not as desperate as I was, then I would still be as arrogant as I used to be. Which is like I've done well in life. I've studied in the best schools. I have every marker of human success. So I mean, not like billionaire status, but I had enough. So I was thinking, like, it's really a recipe for failure, because you think that you're self-made. I thought I was self-made. And then you realize later on, there's no such thing. It's just God-made. There's no self-made. Even personal characteristics like focus, discipline, ability to work hard.
Those are gifts.
Some people don't have those gifts. So I cannot take credit even for the things which are quote-unquote me.
Oo nga, I like that. I know that there were so many things phenomenon na pinagdaanan ni Lex, but siguro the question is, you said you had every marker of human success and yet you were going through a dark path. I know it's easy to say na, you know, some people think that money is everything, but it's really not. But as you experiencing this, what started to chip away your very essence that made you say, wait, bakit ganun? I have more than enough. I'm doing well in life. And yet here I am seeking.
I think that even when I was not a believer, I think I had a good heart. I think I had the heart for God, but I didn't know who He was. And so what was weighing on me was that I was hurting people unknowingly. Even till now, I still have a lot of guilt feelings about that. It's one thing if you hurt yourself, but to hurt other people was difficult for me. And when other people were being hurt by my actions, both the things that I actually did to them, as well as spiritual attacks which transferred to other people because of things that I had done and sin that I had done, then I started to think, what's this all about? What can I do about it? And what is the message here for me? In the end, I realized that I really needed to become less and for God to become more. And so not for me to self-help my way into a higher plane, but to give up everything which I thought was
Surrender.
important to me to
Wow.
surrender. And then eventually I realized that this was the path that I was on, that I think that I have gifts that other people don't have. And I realized that those gifts are actually talents. So they're not something that I should be so proud of because I never deserved them. I wasn't gifted with them for my own glory and benefit. What I was given certain talents so that I could help other people, I can share with other people, be of service to the community and to the world. So I'm not here to save the world, but I'm here to just every day ask God, like, what do you really want me to do today? What would give you glory and meaning, and give my glory and meaning as well, but really as a mirror to His glory and meaning. So it's not all about me, but just to be used as a tool. My personal life goal now is to die and to become totally comfortable to be forgotten. Because eventually,
Wow.
when you're gone, at some point,
Yeah.
generation after generation, you will be forgotten.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, it's not about my brand, my name, my
Yeah.
money, my accomplishments, but it's really say, you know what? My God is so big and so perfect and so glorious and beautiful. And so for me, if I can just be a mirror to that, even in my own small way, okay na ako. If I am forgotten, then my source will be remembered. If I'm remembered,
Wow.
then my source will be diminished. So that's how I see it. I mean, my hope and my goal is that
Wait,
I'll be
Lex,
less important.
time.
Oh,
Stop.
Wait,
Wait a minute. If I am forgotten, my source is remembered. If I'm remembered, my source is forgotten.
That's what he said.
I love it.
That's what I
Grabe.
think, right?
Oh.
Because if it's you, then it's all about you.
Totoo.
It's your brand kasi magaling ka, matalino, mayaman, whatever it is that you're guwapo ka, whatever it is, you're famous,
Yeah.
whatever it is that you gain worth from. The question is, where did you get that? And was it really you? Are you self-made or are you God-made?
Do you think this is why a lot of celebrities or people who are hyper celebrated and overly magnified in society, the weight of that crushes them?
Yes, because no human being can bear the weight of God.
Yes.
And what you are kasi when you're a celebrity is you're made a mini God.
Oh, yeah.
You're made a mini God. That's why
Super.
people want to be with
Idolize
you. People
you,
want to
celebrate
photograph
you.
themselves with you or sleep with you or whatever.
Yeah.
They want something from you. And
Right.
they want actually the power which comes with your light. So what does that mean, right? Is it your light in the first place? They're taking it, right? When they take your
Yeah.
picture. But is it your light to begin with? So for me, the less important you are and the more you point at He who is really important, that's your job. And in fact, if you're a celebrity, then the more you should do that because you recognize that, yeah, I'm so famous, but honestly, it's not me kasi you're good looking. Did you have anything to do with that? I mean, you just
Beyond your
locked out.
You lucked out. You lucked out, right? Or you even have talent. Did you have anything to do with that? I mean, did you really learn that?
Yeah.
Even if you went to acting school or whatever.
It's a gift not to
yeah,
begin
it's a
with,
gift.
eh.
Everything
Yeah.
is a gift. And even like I have a lot of people in my life who don't have discipline. So it's so easy to say, you're so lazy. But it's just easy also to say to anybody who's fat, just diet and exercise. But why is it that some people have a very difficult time doing that? It's
Yeah.
because even that ability to diet and exercise, even that character trait, that's also a gift. So if you think of everything is a gift, then you don't take anything for granted. And then you live a life where you're just saying, how can I serve? How can I help? What talents do I have that I can share with other people? So it's really not about me. And it's about the person who made me, the God that made me. So I'll just point to Him and say, Lord, what do I need to do today? And I'll try my best, as flawed and as much of a sinner as I am, to do it to the best of my ability.
Yeah. You know what? Ang dami ko ring na-observe in terms of like celebrity culture, no? Na parang to the world, like, the world gets so baffled when there's a huge celebrity who has it all. The money, the fame, all the yes men, yes women who's just around them all the time. They have it all, right? I just recently watched yung documentary ni Charlie Sheen, eh. And parang just seeing where he took all that fame and where he took all that success diba, naging drug addict din siya, went into like really wild and dark places, in his life.
Sexuality and
Parang
all.
what's the psychology behind that? Because to us nga, parang we think na, you have it all. Pero why choose that dark route where they end up self-harming, whether through drugs or like physically self-harming, or sometimes even to the point of voluntarily passing or like voluntarily ending their lives.
The reality of living in this world is that it's broken. So people are broken, the systems are broken, the world is broken. So I think that that's the first place to start, right? You recognize that I am
Agree.
broken, and it's not like the world is broken, I'm not broken, and you're also broken.
Yes.
So I think that that's really the first place to start, to recognize that we live in a very imperfect world where really everything is broken.
Yeah.
That being said, it doesn't mean that we should be hopeless, right? And so there is inevitable pain. And in life kasi, there's ability to handle pain, and then there is level of pain. So it's really just a weighing scale, right?
Yeah.
Now, do you have more ability to handle inevitable pain, or do you have less ability? Now, some people have less ability to handle that pain. So it's much harder for them to go through life and deal with the inevitable struggles of heartbreak, death, and all the things, bad things, betrayal that happen to you. I think it's very important to be careful what information you consume, what options you consider to be possible options. And the challenge with self-harm is much of that is contagious. These are social contagion because, again, back to the weighing scale, ability to handle pain versus inevitable pain, right? So how deep is your repertoire to deal with painful, inevitable situations? When your repertoire is not deep, you look to the world to come up with potential solutions.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you're seeing that the quote-unquote solution, obviously it's not the correct solution, is self-harm, then it becomes an option.
Yeah.
And that's why
Right.
it becomes a social contagion. Unfortunately, when a very famous person does something that induces the highest level of self-harm, you will see that many people follow not only in the action, but also in the methodology.
That's crazy.
It is contagious. So, interestingly, psychologists will say, honor your thoughts and feelings. Just talk about it more. But the more people talk about it, then you're giving an option or a possible wrong solution to somebody who is experiencing that great pain. And so, in the past, not a good solution either. But what some people would do was they would drink alcohol. Just get drunk all the time. So I'm experiencing pain, so they drink. So that becomes the level of how they dealt with that pain. Because that's what the norm, the social norm
Yeah.
was. After that, what was the evolution? People started taking marijuana. Just numbing their pain in that marijuana. Because that was the option that was available for them at that time. And then as drugs came on, the people started escalating.
Right.
Now, as you find more options
To cope.
then people start using different options. So it's when other people are using the option and then it's publicized through media and social media, then they start thinking to themselves, so I'm experiencing horrible pain, which is inevitable. While generations back, I'll just drink myself to stupor, but not death over
Right,
4
right.
months. That's what culturally was acceptable then. So now you're looking at other options, which, to my mind, the prudent thing, if you recognize this as a social phenomenon and not as an individual problem. Because if it's an individual problem, then it's one-on-one. It's a therapist and somebody in
Right,
great
right.
pain, possibly giving medication, coping, helping that person to cope in many ways. But it's very much individual. The more it's publicized, the more it's talked about, the more the means of the self-harm is discussed on media and social media, then it will now reach somebody who's experiencing similar pain. And then they'll say, 30 years ago, I'll just drink. Not a good solution either, but it's not going to cause death. Now they have something else. So people don't think of self-harm as a contagion, as a social contagion or as an
Yeah.
epidemic. They don't think of it that way. They think that
Right.
no one person is experiencing pain. So let's just talk about it. But unfortunately, it's like a Pandora's box. You open it and you're giving more wrong options to other people.
Yeah.
So it is imperative that you help somebody in pain.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I would prefer that it's not done in the public sphere. So
Yes.
media and social media is the public sphere
Right.
where
Yeah.
these things are discussed.
Yeah.
And the fact that when celebrities hurt themselves, people copy and do it in the same way.
Yeah.
And that remote islands where something happens like this, where it had never been experienced prior, then you see this epidemic among people. And then now, it's not even just the most vulnerable population, which are the young adults.
Yeah.
It's now even becoming older people, which was unheard of decades back.
Yeah.
Before, it was always only young adults that are more fragile.
Uh-oh.
But now, the spectrum is getting bigger to
Kids.
even older, younger and
kids.
older. Both,
Yeah.
which is both very, very unusual. So, I'm not saying don't reach out and help that person, but I would prefer that it be done one-on-one and
Yeah,
in a
in
very
private.
in a very private method, as opposed to we'll talk about it, we'll write about it, we'll put it on the news, we'll publicize it, because that unfortunately
so much
increases
sense.
the social phenomenon
Pero-
and the epidemic effect.
You know, do you remember when we were in high school how some of the people in our batch would publicly, or not publicly, but it would be known to the batch that they're doing self-harm? And much of it is, I don't know if encouraged is the right word or triggered, pero it's the music they listen to.
And the
Diba,
shows they
the
watch.
shows they watch, and kasi dumating yung point na we're glamorizing pain, diba? My
Oo.
Chemical Romance,
Emo era.
emo era, every...
No, but I totally get, because I also had my period of doing self-harm, whether it be basta physical self-harm
Yeah.
when I get depressed or frustrated. And yeah, parang I didn't know it back then, but yeah, that's totally true. Like the movies I watched, parang yun yung nagiging outlet ng mga bata, and you relate kasi, parang oh, you relate to their problem. Exactly what Lex is saying.
Yeah.
You relate, you feel overlooked, you feel ugly,
Neglected.
you
And that's
feel-
normal.
Yeah, and that's normal.
It's normal to
but-
hate your parents. It's normal to feel
Yeah.
pain.
As a teenager,
Of
no?
course.
in
Oh.
this period of transition, right? Pero since you see it, and parang subconsciously something happens to your brain na that's an outlet. Like, pwede pala nga, di ba? Parang it gives you that you're now allowed to do that.
Validated.
I'll give you
Oo
like on a personal level. If I'm watching a movie and I'm 10 minutes away from the end and I feel a darkness in the movie, 100% I'm going to stop watching.
Yeah.
If I'm reading a book and I'm 10 pages from the end and I
Right.
feel an evil presence or something that doesn't sit right in my soul, I'll stop reading. I'll never finish that book.
Yeah. Yeah, get.
So when I have toxic friends on social media, and I'm not talking about like political differences, I can handle differences. When I can feel something that really sits wrong with me, I will unfriend that person instantly.
Yeah.
So I'm constantly unfriending people on social media because I believe it's like garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
very conscious about what I consume. And people think of consumption only like eat food.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
actually,
no.
that's
Mental.
actually what you put in your head, what you put in your heart, what you put in your soul. That's even worse. And I'm not even talking about like something overt, like porn. Talagang bad yun. But sometimes it's more subtle than that.
That's true.
Agree.
So it's important for me to curate what goes into my head and my heart.
Yes.
That I'm not just putting things in needlessly, uselessly. So my personal goal is not just to entertain myself. It's not just to pass the time,
Yes.
but to be conscious about every decision I make. And who you put in your social media circle is, or should be at least, an overt decision.
Yeah.
Something you
Yeah.
put some thought into. Now again, I don't believe that you should just associate with people who have the same thoughts as you.
Right.
Oh.
It's gonna be an
That's
echo
not
chamber.
good either.
Uh-oh.
But there are some people that trigger you, and they trigger you in a deep way and in an
Yeah.
unhealthy way.
Yes.
So for me, what is the correct response to that? It's to cut that person out, either temporarily or permanently, depending on whether that's a family member or somebody you really need to
Right.
be with. But you have to curate your mind space, your soul space. And people are not conscious of that. Eh.
You know-
they just try to entertain. Oh, just the
True,
doom scrolling,
yeah.
or like random people say different stuff on.
Actually,
on
ngayon
their
ko lang natutunan
feed.
yan na okay lang pala to cut people off. Because I remember there was this girl, every time I posted about my spirituality or my beliefs, talagang spewing angry hate.
So aggressive.
As in aggressive. Tapos ako naman, for a time, I thought, no, I'll keep her there because, we go way back from childhood and blah, blah, blah. Baka I could be light to her. Pero the more we engage, the more I feel like I was being drained. And then I
Yeah.
realized na, teka, okay lang naman pala. So ganun, I unfriended her and I feel like,
Yeah.
it's so much better. Hindi kasi siya yung tao na magda-dialogue eh.
Well, I think that the reality of it, whether people agree with me or not, is that nobody will change their mind based on what they read on social media.
Yeah,
So,
yun eh.
let's say Christian ka or whatever your belief is. And atheist ka, hardcore atheist, you're indoctrinating people to atheism. Any part of the spectrum you're part of, you will not change anybody's mind based on what you post on social media. So that's my belief system. So given that, that's not the method that is efficient
You agree.
in causing the change that you desire. I believe that big decisions are most often or almost always made two human beings having a real conversation in a setting that is appropriate.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
unless that person is ripe to handle and
Right.
accept that
Oo,
information, don't feed it. And especially on a social media platform.
Oo nga
So
eh.
if somebody is aggressive with you on social media, even if you have dialogue via messaging, nothing will change on both parts. It's like a political dialogue, right? You have different camps there to promote their message. They're not going to convert anyone either. They're just going to find more people that are similar to them that's going to support what they believe. So it's not the way to change minds. Dialogue, I think, really has to be done on a personal level. So social media is a very toxic environment. So if you believe that, and it's a reflection of the broken world, so you as the power broker have to remove the elements that you feel are not supporting your mental health, your spiritual health, your life health, so that you're conscious about what you consume on all platforms, be it books, be it media, be it social media, be it movies, be it music, every platform, you have to be really discerning.
What do you think about people with already pre-existing mental health issues and conditions and disorders jumping into social media as a means to make sense of it or as a means to
Find themselves.
find themselves?
Or
yeah.
find their purpose.
The problem kasi with the internet in general, not just social media, is it creates silos. So you find people like you that are equally dysfunctional. And because of the algorithm, it promotes that. So you
Yes.
find people that are similar to you, but if you're all dysfunctional, then you're all dysfunctional together.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
Yep,
And so it
that's
doesn't-
Reddit for you.
Exactly. So, it doesn't, so I don't think that is the space for meaningful change. I am not a believer in the internet as the place to change people's beliefs. And a lot of times, to have real growth, you have to have your beliefs challenged and then eventually changed. And that process is hard to do on the internet or via social media. So what the algorithm kasi does, it will just group you into people that are similar to you, and then you start becoming more indoctrinated in your specific silo. And you become
okay.
deeper in
Same
your belief
content
system.
na kasi. Same
Yeah.
content na yung
Same content.
pinaulit-ulit.
And then
Oo.
same.
Then it creates your reality na.
So, back to your original question, clearly, given that algorithm, which is designed for clicks and money making, it's not designed for personal health, for growth.
Yeah.
The whole thing is really not designed to uplift and upgrade humanity.
Whoa.
I mean, because it's algorithm based. It's gonna put people into silos and put you more with people like you. So, back to your question, is that the place and the space to find healing, to find authenticity, to find growth? No, because it's curated by an algorithm which is designed to hurt you, not to help you. It's not that place, right? So I'm not against the internet. It has some good. But if you are vulnerable,
Yeah.
this is not where you should be, right? I mean, I had a teacher in high school who used to say, avoid all near occasions of sin. So meaning that sin is a function of where you are. Even if you're trying to do good, if you're around sin or you're in a
Yes.
place that will lead you to sin, that's a near occasion of sin.
Right.
So to avoid sin altogether, you avoid the near occasions. So unfortunately, most people's feeds promote the most extreme beliefs because the one that becomes viral is the one that sparks on the highest level of emotion. And then negative emotion is more contagious than positive
Yun
emotion.
nga kaya rage baiting
So that's the algorithm. That's
Yeah.
the premise of this world. It's a world.
Yeah.
So if you're vulnerable, as much as possible, you shouldn't even be in that world. Kasi hindi mo siya kaya. You're not designed to have the emotional control
Right.
to navigate this very sensitive and perilous space.
Agree.
So you should be off it. You should be off
Yeah,
it. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
very almost impossible to do, especially for a
Right.
young person. But if you're asking me, is it helpful or hurtful? It's not
More-
helpful.
Yeah.
more hurtful
Yeah.
than
So now that we have this podcast nga, I mean, I can be very into social media. Like, I spend hours on it because also it's part of my job. Pero now, parang yung iniisip ko na lang din is, you know what? Yes, may value yung social media in terms of like connecting you with like-minded people. You know, it's not entirely bad. But yung akin now is, I really want my real life to be much more richer and more beautiful so that I choose to spend more time offline than online. Kasi dati, me, when in my teens, I would always be online because
That's your
I felt
world.
alone, di ba? Parang wala kang makaklik sa school.
Your friends are
parang
online.
You're on a different, like, headspace there. Alam mo yun, parang you're trying to find your space. You're trying to find
yourself even.
yourself and where you belong. Belongingness. Pero, yun ibang-iba na yung internet ngayon with all these bots and all these troll farms and all these hate accounts. Parang, it's just a very different place. And now I'd like to see it as, it's just a game. Parang the internet is nothing.
And it's playing you. It's a game that's
Yeah,
playing you because
yeah.
it has an algorithm that isn't designed to help you. It's designed to hurt you because it just wants clicks and virality.
Yeah.
On a psychological level, Lex, what do you think would be the watch outs for someone wanting to jump in deep? Kasi 'di ba nung pandemic lahat ng tao nag-TikTok. Then ang dami talagang nag-skyrocket yung fame because of TikTok. And then we also see, I mean, the classic case of Diwata, 'di ba? A social media phenomenon with
Oo.
his
Got really viral.
Paresan restaurant that became huge. People started flocking to his place. He started being so, I guess,
Got to his head.
got to his head. And then
He
talagang
became mean to his
became really mean and rude to his fans.
fans.
To some merit because some people would also just go there and not eat and just, take photos,
Oo naman.
bug him, ganon. Find my merit. And then now that the spotlights has been taken away from him, he's now
Begging.
for the public to notice
Forgive
him
him.
again
Oo.
and to support his business again dahil naulugi na siya at nabaon siya sa utang. How do you think someone, okay, ito na lang muna. Ano yung traits ng isang tao that you think can navigate the social media game the healthy way?
You have to be comfortable not being on social media to in order to go on social media.
Yes, that
Okay,
makes
yeah, that
sense.
makes sense.
Kasi if your social media use is some kind of perverted need, then dun pa lang, you shouldn't be on it.
Yeah.
Right? So I think that, like ako, I try to spend one day a week alone as much as possible, where I'll spend at least 5 or 6 hours by myself doing my own stuff. Not online, doing things that are for me. Playing golf, or even when I was living abroad, I would drive. I would drive by myself, go somewhere. I'd eat in a nice restaurant. So I would do things which are completely not normal in Philippine society. I'd watch a movie by myself. I'd do all these things by myself. Not because I have no friends, not because I'm not social, but because I need to give myself time, which is healing time. So I think that if you are comfortable in the silence by yourself and then do that regularly, then you can now do the interaction regardless of whether that's human interaction, face-to-face, or online interaction. Because what I see with people that use social media in a dysfunctional manner, their life is also just as dysfunctional. So actually, what you see online is just a fact, it's just a reflection of what's going on in their regular life.
true.
It's just that when they're online, because there's anonymity and there's just keyboard warrior ka lang, you can be more aggressive. But actually, you're actually the same in real life. It's just toned down because you have to fit cultural
suppressed,
norms. Suppressed lang. But actually, the nature is the same.
Extension
So
lang yung
it's just an
online.
extension.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the online persona is part and parcel of your offline persona. So the more important thing is you have to work on your offline persona.
Yes.
And that, I think, is really being comfortable with yourself. So it's complete acceptance of who you are with the goal of striving to be better. So it's not
Yeah.
mutually exclusive. So you say,
Yes.
everyone is imperfect. We have to come to terms with that imperfection, whether it be physical, emotional. Come to terms, learn to love that imperfection while also trying to become a better person. And I think a lot of that is spending time by yourself, giving yourself the time. So whatever it is that's your healing activity, the activity which gives you genuine strength and peace, you have to engage in that. And if you can do that alone and develop a wonderful relationship with your best friend who's with you forever, other than God, it's you. So you have to become best friends with yourself, like your own company, like doing things with yourself. Do things intentionally for yourself. That's helpful, not harmful to others or harmful to yourself.
of course.
So it's developing yourself. And then as you integrate with people face-to-face and you integrate with people online, then it's really an extension of that work that you're doing on yourself. Because becoming a better person takes time, takes effort, takes work, it takes intentionality. But people don't take that time. So it's just like they become a product of the algorithm and they become like robots, right? Because it's like once you enter,
it's
NPC na sila
no,
eh.
because it's designed to make you a robot. Like there are red buttons that make you click on it, and then it's like doom scrolling. So this
true.
whole
Oh my
system
gosh.
was studied and
Oh,
was
yeah.
created to make you a robot.
Addicted to
Once
it,
you enter,
yeah.
you become addicted. So you have to wean yourself off that in a very intentional way so that you can now use it and use it to your advantage. So
Pero-
it's like you're more in control of it than it's in control of you.
Yes.
Pero what are things to watch out for, like especially for us who have to be online for our jobs, like really spend more than 6 hours online a day? Like what are things to watch out for, or parang signs to like, oops, it's time for me to medyo win, or like
Back out, back
oops,
off.
ginagawa mo na siyang identity, because sometimes it's hard to catch.
For me personally, I try to be cognizant of something in my gut which tells me I'm not okay with this or something is wrong, right? It's like a red flag.
Intuition.
It's like, so I and because I spend a lot of time by myself, then I'm more
Connected.
I'm more connected
Yeah.
to this internal warning system. So for
Internal warning
me,
system.
it's not so much about creating a rule. Kailangan 3 hours, kailangan 4 hours. But when somebody says something or you read something, it's like me walking out of the movie 10 minutes before the end. But when you just feel something like, I'm not cool with this. This isn't okay. Automatic unfriend. Automatic cut off.
Right.
So it's more that, like, you have to make your gut aware of what crosses boundaries that should not be crossed. And a part of that is having a spiritual lens, right? Because if you're just embedded in the world and everything is just human, then that spiritual lens and that gut, I don't know if the gut is the right place where it is, but that's where I feel it. But
Yeah.
it's like when your heart or your gut or your stomach says, this isn't cool, I'm not okay
Alam
with
mo,
this.
Stace, to answer your question, to me personally, it's when I start hating my life.
Ah,
Alam mo yun,
pwede
yung
rin.
kakascroll mo, biglang,
Di ka na
bakit siya?
kontento, oo.
Bakit siya?
Keep
Bakit siya? Bakit
comparing.
siya? And then I'm like, teka lang I have so much going on in my life. Where is this coming from? And it's just that endless trigger of comparison
Yeah.
that the internet, unfortunately, or our feeds tend to,
Yes.
So I think
poke at
that's
you.
important, Dana, because everyone is different. But what Dana is describing is a red flag.
Yeah.
But for you, it manifests in a specific way.
Yeah, yeah.
So for Stace, maybe it's totally different. For me, it's different.
Oh.
But there's just something inside na,
Tama.
I'm not cool. Something's going
Oh,
on.
yung parang,
And so you're looking at what you're doing, but then there is like an impulse that's deeper.
Yes.
And so when you feel that impulse, if you're triggered by another human being online or another human being in person or in any other format, you have to act on that impulse and say,
Honor it.
this is not okay. And I think as you develop a stronger connection with God and a stronger spiritual connection, then that impulse becomes greater. The more time you spend by yourself, that impulse becomes greater. So there are things that you can do to grow that impulse. And when you do a lot of things that are helping you to become a better human being, then that impulse becomes greater. So I think the goal is to make that impulse stronger and then recognize how you get the impulse. So for you, it's that, when it's that comparison thing. For me, it might be something else. For me, it's like when somebody says something and it makes me feel like evil or dirty or parang there's something here. There's like a spirit here that I don't like. So for me, I'm not going to let that spirit enter. So if it's coming from a movie or a book or a fifth person, you can't fight every spiritual war. You recognize
So just
that
remove
Flee.
yourself.
yeah, and then when you're tasked with taking care of somebody, you'll also feel like, okay, there's a darkness here, but I'm being tasked with this, taking care of this person. So it's not every time. So it's again going back into something which is unnameable. It's deep down there that you have to be aligned and in touch with.
Right. So, ito, personal question ko to. Like, what's the best way to deal with the criticism or like hate comments? Just, how do you deal with that?
For me, if
Ignore
some-
ba? Or like, do you clap back?
No, I never clap back because I'm not going to change anybody's mind. And it's not going to make me stronger. So for me, personally, I do two things. One is I ignore and then I unfriend and follow. So
Okay.
that's one. But the second is I try to go back into my quiet time and try to really own up to why was I triggered? Because, Stace, if you were triggered, it's true. If it's not true, you're not gonna get triggered. Okay, so that's hard to accept, right? If it hit you and you're like, that hurt, that means that there's a part of you that believes it. If somebody says something about you which is totally untrue, you're gonna be like, I don't really care. That's
Hindi,
not
pero
true.
what if it's more like an ego thing na parang the audacity na sa'yo pa manggaling?
Well, then that's pride.
Yeah,
Then
that's
that's
right.
pride.
Pero kasi minsan, the people who say the nastiest stuff online are the, like, what? Like, did you check yourself in the mirror?
Yeah, but honestly, that just gives them power. So it's just it's a way for them to feel more than what they are.
That's
but at
true.
the end of the day, so like for you, it's comparison.
Yeah.
So for you, it might be pride. So if your ego is hurt, then maybe you have a false sense of self. And then you have to recognize that, you know what? I'm really not that great anyway.
Yeah.
And that's not like putting myself down.
Yep.
But it's just saying, well, yeah, there's so much about me which sucks.
Yeah,
It's true.
yeah.
And, the same, and so
Totoo.
you have to embrace the lousiness, right? I say, that's true. I'm really this, I'm really that, I'm really that. But it doesn't mean God doesn't love me. There are
That's
other things that
true.
are good. So it's like
Yeah.
completely accepting yourself.
Yeah.
It means it starts with being truthful that there are things about you which are horrible.
Yeah.
And
Which-
then you come
Which
to
is kind of
accept that.
counter social media because social media is about highlighting your
Main
best parts.
character kasi
Oo,
For
siya,
sure.
diba?
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
I like that.
And-
There's wisdom there for sure.
And a lot of that has to be learned offline. Because when you're apart from the algorithm, then you can say, I was triggered. So I'm understanding. I was triggered because my ego was hurt, my pride was hurt. Who does he think he is? Who does she
Yeah.
think he is? Or she, sino ba yan, diba? So if you have that, then it's like, why are you defending your ego so much? I mean, what if you are all those lousy things? What's the big deal? Does God love you less? Are you going to be now a useless person in the world? So I mean,
Yeah, eh.
if you look at the Bible, it's full of losers, right? But then God
Yeah.
used them for His good.
Yep.
Right?
Siguro to summarize, ito lang talaga eh. My key takeaway is your self-worth is not in the hands of strangers on the internet.
Pero you will only also know that, like really know that, when you make your life richer and you make yourself better offline too.
Yeah, that's
Diba?
what
Like
Lex
Lex
said.
is saying.
Well said.
And if the love that you require from others is sourced internally. So you don't look to others, even your spouse, even your boyfriend, even your mom or your father or your whoever it is, to now validate you. But you have to come to terms with, this is who I am, good, bad, and ugly. And then work on yourself while loving yourself. So you do those things simultaneously. So you don't look to the world, be it social media or people in your actual world, to now do the things that you need.
Yes.
You have to do it for yourself. And that's why, as busy as I am, I spend at least half a day a week by myself. That takes a lot of effort, to actually just be by yourself for half a week and to shut everything out.
Yeah.
And it's like phone off time. At least 5 hours a week. That takes a lot of effort to do
Yeah.
that. But it's because I need to take care of myself in order to take care of others and do what God wants me to do. So
Amen.
this is very important. It's like you have to be your best friend, and then you have to accept the things about you which are not okay. It's
Yeah.
like being in a relationship. You have to accept that this person's not going to change. But I have to try to get better. So it's like you do that to yourself. It's like some things about me are lousy. I'm okay with that. Maybe I have too much ego. Maybe I compare too much, whatever.
Yeah.
I accept that, and then I now work on myself. So it's really like quiet time. You know, the Christians always talk about quiet time reading the Bible. But you can also have quiet time not reading the Bible. And it could be whatever way works for you. But it's basically time to be with yourself, to heal yourself, and regular. 4 times a month, once a week.
Love it. Let's do that. Starting this... Actually, ganun naman ako eh. Parang I really have those times na mag-onsen ako mag-isa.
It could be short lang.
Yeah,
Let's say you have to walk
diba?
to 7-Eleven or 10 minutes. Make that walk purposeful. You have to walk there anyway. It's 10-minute walk. So as you walk, maybe I'll listen to some praise and worship, or maybe I'll just be quiet, or maybe I'll repeat a mantra to myself,
present.
a biblical mantra to myself, or whatever. So
right.
you're taking that time, or even if you're taking a shower, you have to do that every day.
Quiet
As you take
time
a shower,
matters.
as you take the soap off your body, you being kind to yourself. Even when you're making something that is totally routinary, very meaningful. It's just about intentionality.
That's right.
Wonderful. Grabe, winasak ako ni Lex today. But it's the beautiful kind.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Lex,
you, Lex.
for
Of course, of
sharing.
course.
As usual, bitin na naman.
Oo nga
Ting
eh. But of
nagchichikahan
course,
tayo.
we will have Lex back again for
That's
more
right.
insights.
All right.
So that's it.
Thanks, guys.